Tag and welcome to the Design Tech Talk. As you know, it's only a few hours away. Audi will celebrate the new Audi e-tron in San Francisco, here in San Francisco. So today you get a lot of information about the technical background in the tech park, especially in the tech park, but we have more than this. Let me introduce you to my two colleagues of Audi AG, the two designers, Mattijs and Juan. So, Mattijs and Juan, which role is what is your role in the e-tron project, and maybe you can explain a little bit about the whole thing.
Thank you, Lisa. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Juan Herta. I'm exterior designer, and in the last around 4 years I've been specifically working in the exterior design of the Audi e-tron.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Mattijs. I'm part of the Audi design team in Ingolstadt, working on the interiors, and we do it with a big team of experts, and really happy to be here.
I have one question. What brought you to San Francisco? Because Germany, you know, it's a long travel, so why you are here?
Well, what we want to do in the next 20 so minutes is together with you to get a presentation about the 4 values that lay behind the design of the e-tron. So we want to have a deep dive into the foundation of the design and visualize that for you. These 4 core values are performance, intelligence, lightness, and ceremony. And we're going to explain you how those 4 values influence the design.
So let's get it started. Let's go to the computer. So
yeah,
we can start with the sketch demonstration. And everybody can see already the side view of the e-tron. Already known with this camouflage. You probably have seen it already several times in several internet places, videos, and so on. We would like to explain a little bit what those 4 values represent in exterior, but also in interior. So we will start with performance. So it means for the exterior the proportions of the car. And how we communicate the clear concept of this car, this clear SUV with the proportions. I would like to start with something that is really important, which is first of all the really nice proportion of the wheels. We need to remember that we will have for the Audi e-tron the 775 millimeter wheel from the Q7, so that's a really big wheel that it really helps for the proportion of the car to have this SUV character. Really interesting is the concept of the long wheelbase. This really helps to stretch the volume of the car and move the wheels to the corners. So this gives us the possibility to have really short front overhang. I mean, it really feels like the car has a direction, because the front overhang is quite short in compare, especially. Oops, sorry, 1 second. Especially in comparison with the rear one, which is a little bit longer. All this gives this nice direction to the car. What we have is in the front is a quite upright kind of SUV front. I mean, we wanted to give to the car this presence in the street, this presence with a really proud front somehow. And then we recognize a clear silhouette of an SUV in the rear with this really interesting section. I will explain it later a little bit more in detail, but the section of the rear is really interesting. So we have altogether a really interesting proportion of an SUV. But what makes the key elements of the side view? I would like to start with something, and is the low shoulder from the car that you can find from the front to the rear. This really splits the volume of the car like in 2 parts. And on top we have a really powerful quattro topic. We have those quattro masters. I mean, really specifically treated for the Audi e-tron, since we have this movement down in the very end. If you compare it to cars like A6 and A7, that this shoulder is pretty much just a straight line. We have this movement down to give from side view a much more characteristic profile to the car. But it has also something to do with the next topic, which is aerodynamics. I mean, what we know about aerodynamics is that we couldn't bring the volume of the car in top view so much out like in other models. That's why we wanted to have the shoulder line really visible and really iconic from side view with these angles down. Also something that was really important in terms of aerodynamics was the cabin and the way that the roof is actually having this interesting and iconic shape where it drops towards the rear end. This was pretty much given by our colleagues in the wind tunnel, and it helps massively to reach a proper range in kilometer distance. But also for us in design, it gives this really nice, attractive silhouette of a really sporty SUV. This is, for my hand, Mattijs, in terms of performance. How is it for you in the interior?
Well, in the interior design team, we work a lot on performance. And first of all, let me explain to you the Audi wraparound. It's really creating space, connecting the doors, the volumes, and creating space around the passengers, and having continuation from door to door. But you can see here already a very nice integration of the heads-up display in the center that really accentuates this center line. And this car is about performance because you, as a driver, are in the center of the architecture, and everything is based around this axis here. So you see a very good integration of the heads-up display, creating this wraparound with performance. On the second layer, we have an architecture cockpit that's really built around the driver with a driver orientation. And this is the place where all interaction takes place concerning the interface of the car. And you can see here, these angles are built into the center console. You can see everything is in the right position for driving and being in control of this car. Even in all the details, like the shifter, you can see this driver focus in the interior. The second part, the second value we want to talk about is intelligence.
So let's start again with the exterior and what it means, this intelligence in the exterior shape. And we are talking about functional aesthetics. And I would like to somehow make a little emphasis in a detail, starting from the bottom part of the bumper, where normally we have in a normal car the normal air intake. In here in the e-tron we play a different kind of game. We have much more body color than in a normal car. And we play with this interesting section here that we will see where this surface is standing a little bit in the shadow, and it goes against this other surface which is standing more facing up, catching more light. It almost creates like the feeling of like a little tunnel. And it's actually like this because this area here, it has to find a conduction of the air that normally gets trapped in this area of the air intake to go through this hole here called air curtain. Literally, this is an open hole that allows the air that gets in here to go through the wheel arch and improve the efficiency of the body side in terms of aerodynamics. Very much accelerates the air in front of the wheel, so reduce this turbulence of the wheels in the body side. It's a really interesting topic that is actually not 100% new of the e-tron, but it has been extremely worked out, especially for this model. Something that is really always iconic from our cars is, of course, the single frame. In here, we recognize that it's an SUV because we have this octagon kind of shape in the grille, as we know already from cars like, for example, Q8. It was important also that the e-tron had the same shape in the grille with this octagon to really link it to the SUVs of the company. But of course, it's an electric car, and we didn't want to communicate to our customers like this was the classical grille where pretty much the air goes through to go through the refrigerators and cooling the engines. In here, the materiality of the color of the grille, it will be a much more integrative design to the front. It won't be literally a black hole. We will see something else. It's a completely different treatment. We will see it tonight, and I think it's interesting if we can all together later on discuss about it. But the amount of technology that is behind the grille is really interesting, and the way it has been treated from the exterior point of view to really bring a lot of benefits in terms of aerodynamics. Also, like for example, a really unique element like is the virtual mirrors. Literally a little wing coming out of the DLO, out of the window. This has been always the dream of designers, because we always like, especially in this area, really small mirrors, and it was never possible. Of course, a mirror needs to have a certain technical requirements, but with these virtual mirrors we have extreme advantages in terms of aerodynamics and aeroacoustics, and it's also a really extreme visual element of the exterior. This almost gives me the hand to the next topic from the interior, Mattijs.
Yeah, talking about virtual side mirrors and their impact on aeroacoustics and the overall exterior design. Of course, in the interior we had a big challenge how to integrate the virtual side mirrors and their displays. They come with OLED technology, super sharp, and it was really at the beginning of the process. It's not an afterthought. They were a substantial part of the main architecture of the car, and we managed to integrate them into the wraparound, so you can see them here, sit in a very logical place. They are part of the design, and it gives you a very nice experience. You can almost say that the wraparound of Audi has become digital and intelligent. If you go one step further, here you see the cockpit really defined here for the driver and of course for the passenger. With its dual touch display, that means that we have two displays. You know it from our flagship Audi A8. They come with touch response, so you get also a haptic feedback when you touch the surfaces. You get a haptic feedback. It's really important. Adds to the safety. And they come into a black panel architecture. That means that if the car is not on, you have a very nice black sculpture. When you switch on the car, it comes alive, and you have a very nice integration of the digital world. And there come to one point where designers put a lot of love, passion and energy in. It's the functional aesthetics, because design is not just styling, it is really the combination of function and aesthetics together. One good element here, you can see this trim part. It also comes with the warning lights, so when you get out of the car, there's this robust feeling of safety with the door handle, and it's really about bringing different functions together in one shape. You can see it here in the center console as well. And that's what our job is about, to create for the customer a very clear and understandable design language.
So we will continue with the next point, which is lightness, and once more we continue with the exterior. And I would like to explain the main construction, the main sculpture of the car, because this will be really important for you afterwards to understand what you see this evening. And as I said, we started always from a line that it will be dividing the volume of the car from front to rear, going through the body side. This line is really important. It's this horizontal line that literally splits the volume in two, and then we will have like this angle of this part of the car facing up with really fast angle, really attractive, and then we have this part of the volume facing down. It creates a really interesting game between light and shadow, which is really important for the volume of the car. And in a funny way, we always talk about this topic like a UFO, and if we remember how the cartoons of the UFOs were in the 80s, of course, and we will have like a little element like this, and we have again this construction that I was talking about now. And of course we will have two little landing stations here, and then the little thing. And then we see a little bit this connection between this horizontal line, the upper part facing up, and the bottom part facing down. So it will help to catch shadow in this area of the car and light on top. This helps to really reduce the visual volume of the car a lot. In combination with the power of this quattro topic that I commented before. And here we see in the rear the nice integration of that topic to the rear light. Again, with this movement down, really iconic from the e-tron, really specific, coming also in the front. All this together with this section, again, it brings a lot of stance to the car, a lot of this light and shadow kind of play that it gives a lot of nice volume to the car.
What about the batteries?
Well, actually, it's an interesting point because as is also really good in SUVs, we like to split the volume with this little color separation here. And we will have it in this level here, and then also coming to the front. So we have, let's say, the classical Audi proportion, right? We have like 1/3 is what we consider glass, let's say. This is 1/3 of the volume with a nice little, and then we have, so this will be 1/3, and then we have 2/3 of metal for the body side. So we have this extra element here, which has been cut out of the main volume. It's a contrast area. We will have it also, of course, as an option in body color, but we designers, we especially like in contrast because it gives this lightness and this elevated feeling to the car. And then also to communicate this electrification to our customers, we play with this little yin-yang here that almost represents to the customer that there exactly is where the batteries are, is where the power of the car is coming from, also related to this element here from the rear bumper. And this has a really interesting connection also to the interior, right, Mattijs?
Absolutely. Because if you open the door of this car, you can see that it's designed around lightness. Where do you see it? You see here the center console, and of course the new package gave us the possibility to create a center console, a tunnel with a different architecture. You can see here that we have a breakthrough in the tunnel. I'm going to add another arrow, and I can even do it with shadows behind it. I'm trying to do it fast here, normally it takes time. So we have here a tunnel with a breakthrough, so you can, it really gives this airy feeling. And there's a reason behind it as well. So we have two levels. One level here where the shifter sits and all the controls, and there's a second level here underneath where the cup holders, the phone box, etc. Everything comes together. So it's like a functional division inside of the tunnel. This lightness doesn't end there, because we also have it here in the gear shifter.